Hi, my name is Ismail Ahmad and this is my testing for my API. I'm going to start off with the possibilities within my post function of getting an author and creating one. First, I'm going to show what happens when you put the incorrect URL in, which will give a 405 code. As you can see, I'm going to put in the correct URL with the ID. This ID does not exist, therefore 405 method is not allowed, as this URL has no relevancy to what we need to do. I will then input the correct URL code, which will create the author and give a status code of 201, as you can see here. This will give my example author an ID of 1, and this will be used throughout my entire project. Now I'll go through my get test case, which will get the author. As you can see, I use the same URL. And now I'll show what happens when I change the URL with a different ID number, which is incorrect and therefore will give us a 404 status code. As you can see, I put the ID code of 3 and our 404 code is present. To ensure that this test case is successful, I must use the same URL, which will then give us a status code of 200, as you can see over here. I will once again use another test case to show you how I can get the author using the ID number. If I input the incorrect ID number within my URL, a status code of 404 will appear along with a message declaring that an author does not exist with this ID number, as you can see over here. Author not found, author with ID2 not found. After inputting the correct ID number, a status code of 200 should appear along with the information of the author, as you can see, in the response body. I'm now going to be testing my endpoint of put author. This will update the author's details, which will lead to the information being shown in the response body, along with a status code of 200. We'll now go through the author delete endpoint. After inputting the URL link along with the ID number, status code of 204 should appear along with all the author's information being deleted. I'm now going to go back to creating an author, giving my author a new ID of number 2. I will now test my post book endpoint, which will create this book within the system. I'm now going to show what happens when the publication year is a date in the future. This will be a bad request, therefore giving a status code of 400. As you can see, I'm going to change the publication year to 2050. Once I press send, status code of 400 should appear, along with a message saying invalid input, as the publication year cannot be in the future. After inputting the correct year for the book, a status code of 201 will appear, and the book and its information will be present in the system. And it will be given an ID number of 1 in the response body. This will be used when requesting the book and adding the book to the cart. Now I'll go through my get endpoint for the book. This will request the book and show its information in the response body, while giving a status code of 200, as you can see over here. I am now going to go through my put book endpoint, which will help update my book details. This new update will be shown in the response body and be implemented within the system. For example, I'm going to change the stock of the book from the number 28 to the number 15. After clicking the correct URL, everything will update and give a status code of 200. I am now going to show what happens with my delete endpoint. This test case will delete the book information and give a status code of 204. I'll now go through my post cart endpoint. I will show the possibilities that may appear when creating a cart. To retrieve a 404 status code, the book ID within the cart will be wrong if there is no book assigned to that ID number, which will display a message that states that the book cannot be found with the ID number. But to retrieve a status code of 400, this will occur if the quantity is lower than 0. Therefore, this is a bad request, which will state that it is an invalid input. After inputting the correct book ID and quantity number, status code of 201 will appear. For my next test case, I will go through the get cart endpoint. This will retrieve the cart information we have just created and give a status code of 200 OK. As you can see, when I press send on the URL, the cart's information will be shown in the request body. Now I'll go through my next test case, which is my delete cart endpoint. This will delete the cart's information that we have just made. I will then show what happens when we input the incorrect book ID, as this will give a 404 status code, as the cart will not be able to be found. It says cart not found, cart item for book ID 5 not found. When inputting the correct book ID, the cart will then be deleted and the cart information will no longer exist. After deleting the cart, a 404 status code will appear in my next test case, as there will no longer be no order information that relates to my cart, which means my information cannot be found, giving a status code of 404. You can see it says cart not found, cart is empty but not found for customer ID 1. I will then create a new cart after deleting my last cart. After doing so, I'll press send on the URL, which will give my cart information, along with a status code of 201. This will give my customer ID, my cart ID, along with the products that I want to buy. I will now go through my last test case, which is my get endpoint. This will give me a status code of 200, as I have now retrieved my order information. However, if I have changed the ID within the URL, the order will not be able to be found, giving a 404 status code. As you can see here, I will input the incorrect ID number of 5, and it says cart not found, order with ID 5 not found. Thank you for watching my API testing video. There is more information regarding testing within my report. Thank you.